India is actually at number 3 right now when it comes to entrepreneurship. 90% of the entrepreneurial ventures are actually not able to do well and they are getting shut down. If somebody gets accustomed to the course structure and education of entrepreneurship, they can actually get to know 3 things.
India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. Expected a year-on-year growth of a consistent 12 to 15%. That's crazy, right? Companies are realizing the disruptive potential of startups and are then partnering or investing with them. Examples of such support are programs by Facebook, Microsoft, and Goldman Sachs. The Indian government too understands the potential of using these innovations to improve public service delivery and hence has startup policies in over 26 states. I'm your host Anushka, and in this episode we'll talk about taking an academic approach to entrepreneurship. And we have with us Shlok. Welcome to the show, Shlok.
Thank you so much, Anushka. Great to talk to you.
So given that there's such a boom in entrepreneurship, at least here in India and also worldwide, something that comes in my mind very often is that is it enough to just start an entrepreneurship journey purely on your hunch, and is there something else that we can do from our side?
Actually, that's a very great question that you have asked. I was actually looking at some of the statistics. I was going through a entrepreneurship monitor. It's a global kind of a forum, and they said that India is actually at number 3 right now when it comes to entrepreneurship and growing entrepreneurs. So definitely, this is something which is becoming a lot more interesting and a lot more people want to do it. But at the same time, a big thing that we are seeing is that people are just getting into it because maybe they find it a little bit interesting, they find it a little bit creative, they don't want to do like a 9 to 5 job and they just want to get into it. And in the end, the results that we are seeing is that 90% of the entrepreneurial ventures are actually not able to do well and they are getting shut down. So that is an alarming thing. So I feel that if somebody is getting into entrepreneurship, it is very important that that person actually gets trained to get into entrepreneurship.
Just to get into a bit of detail about it, what are the benefits you feel that somebody can definitely reap if they go about this journey of taking an academic approach to entrepreneurship and enrolling themselves in certain courses or talking to certain people who can guide them through it?
Sure. So, I have been living in India for like 25 years. I have lived in India. I've seen the education system. And I mean, anyone would agree that we really don't get to learn a lot of skills. But it is actually the skills that help us move forward in life. For example, if we take example of driving, right? You can only drive if you have the skill of driving. Otherwise, you just cannot drive. Similarly, for entrepreneurship, this is something if somebody gets accustomed to the course structure and education of entrepreneurship, they can actually get to know 3 things, 3 important things. First one is they can actually build, of course, the knowledge with respect to how to do finance, how to do marketing, how to really understand customers, how to think, how to solve the problems, and how to be innovative about it. Second thing is they can actually build a lot of soft skills. And entrepreneurship definitely needs a lot of soft skills, is whether it is passion, resilience, leadership qualities. And third thing is that it actually helps in building networks and contacts. So entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial courses actually help us connect with like-minded people who are looking at similar things, who want to go in similar direction. And for somebody who is actually starting a business, having a lot of contacts is very important. So I think these are some of the things that definitely an entrepreneur can learn by studying entrepreneurship.
As you mentioned, that there are so many startups that fail as well. And partly the reason is also, just having limited knowledge. So what are the go-to courses or the go-to places that you've come across who give a somewhat good knowledge when it comes to, creating a course where entrepreneurship is the core intent with that course?
Definitely. So right now I am part of a business school called Olin Business School, Washington University in United States, and it is considered one of the topmost institute in the world for entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
But schools like this are definitely very expensive, and these are something that is not in reach of a lot of people. There are also online courses, for example, on Coursera, Udemy, or something like EDX, things like that, where people can go buy
Mm-hmm.
and study entrepreneurship. But I feel that the way entrepreneurship is growing in India, we really need a great solution that can reach to masses. So, what I was thinking was, because over the last few years, I have seen entrepreneurship myself because I am growing my own brand and I have studied it.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I should actually start courses, free courses on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
for general people so that they can learn things about entrepreneurship without even paying anything. And I think that is the least I can do for people of India, because I feel that if we really want more startups to succeed instead of fail, we need to train our people. And this is just one thing I want to do, and give this free education to people through my YouTube channel.
That's great news. Being an entrepreneur myself, I think I'll be waiting for your course to drop and then I'll definitely enroll myself in it because, uh, as you mentioned, that
Yep.
there are these paid courses out there on Coursera, Udemy, but it's very difficult to find a curriculum which suits exactly the knowledge you need because it's an amalgamation
Yep.
of very many different factors. So great. That's a great step towards educating people in this area. That brings me to my last question. That since I mentioned that I'm an entrepreneur myself, my way of going about entrepreneurship is very traditional. What would be your advice when it comes to traditional businesses and then studying entrepreneurship and just mix of these two things?
Yeah. So, to be very honest, the traditional way of business doing is
Mm-hmm.
something which is going out of fashion very quickly, very fastly.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we are progressing right now, it is very important that we upskill ourselves in every way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in last 5 or 6 months, the way we have seen the generative AI has exploded, it is like insane, and we are not even we have not even reached the peak. We are just in literally the starting phase.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in like 3 or 4 years, this would be something out of the world. So there is a lot of new opportunity, and it is very important for a lot of entrepreneurs who are probably doing their family businesses or things like that to really make this shift, because things like this actually can open a lot more new doors. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I'll give you an example. So, for example, if you have a traditional family business of fashion or clothes, right, and you have been manufacturing a lot of clothes and selling them.
Mm-hmm.
But now with generative AI, you can actually study customers, you can study customer data to a scale that normal humans couldn't do ever. And with that data, you can actually understand the real customer preferences, what style they want. You
Mm-hmm.
can actually do predictive analysis, what is going to go out of fashion, what is coming into fashion, and you can actually work on your stock. So there's so much potential now that you can use things, something like generative AI, to really make innovations to your business, and you can launch a lot more new products just in the fashion industry. So there's a lot of potential that we see, and I think with this growing technology, a lot of people need to shift from the traditional mindset,
Mm-hmm.
get upskilled with entrepreneurship, and adapt these new technologies and grow their business.
An entrepreneur is handling many different roles in a company, and sometimes it's just a solo just a solo person. And then when it comes to updating themselves with all the recent trends, it really helps because, as you mentioned in your example, something that you mentioned would have been a job done by somebody from the data department, for example. But then a single person can't possibly have the knowledge of every single thing that happens in the company. And that's when these tools come in handy. And to know about the existence of these tools, we need to constantly update ourselves with what's going out there. And I think that's where, educating ourselves when it comes to studying entrepreneurship really helps. Thank you so much for coming and doing an episode with us. I hope the listeners find this very insightful and amazing. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel It's called Shlok. There will be a lot of content related to entrepreneurship. Also my LinkedIn, also my Instagram. So I'm everywhere on the social media. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me there. And of course, you can take the link that I have with TopMate to reach out to me.
Yeah, we'll mention all those links down in the description below. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Top Connect. I hope this episode was very informative for you. If you have any questions regarding studying entrepreneurship, feel free to contact Shlok. The links are in the description below. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please write down the next topic you'd want us to cover. I'm Anushka and you're listening to Top Connect, an education podcast by TopMate, hosted and produced by me.